RuneScape changed my life. I know that statement is both an incredibly overused format and an extremely loaded yet vague statement, so we're going to expand on that clearly. Video games teach us a lot of things: patience, perseverance, anger management, communication, strategy, investing, the ability to accept change, which is a hard one for me. I feel video games teach us a vast array of skills that we often aren't aware we're learning in the moment, and I love that. RuneScape was, and still is, more than just a teacher to me. It was a major source of inspiration to me, and still is to this day. I started playing RuneScape in 2004 at the ripe age of 10 years old. I'm sure that's relatable for a lot of people. Fortunate enough to have a family PC at home. I was talking to the kids in school about video games, and the question came up, have you heard of RuneScape? And none of us had heard of it until then, except for the one asking the question, obviously. And while I don't remember the name of the person who asked the question, they have certainly changed my life forever. I checked the game out after I got home that day and experienced Tutorial Island. As a kid, it was the most amazing thing ever. Going fishing, followed by woodcutting and fire making so we could cook the fish, doing the bread, etc. Peak 2004 gaming in my child eyes. I finished Tutorial Island and probably killed some goblins, chickens, and cows or something. The next day at school, I was sharing my experience and how blown away I was, unprepared for what was about to follow. The same kid who introduced us to this wonderful game asked me another question. Have you heard of private servers? At that point, I definitely had no idea that they were a thing or what they were, and I was greedily waiting to be informed about them. I was intrigued to say the least, and when I got home that day, I immediately went onto the major private server forums at the time and started reading and learning everything I could. I could create my own server, and that blew my mind. It was absolutely wild. I eventually got a server running and knew that I wanted to customize as much as I could, but there was one problem. What the fuck even is a programming language? Imagine being a parent and your 10-year-old child asks you for a book on the Java programming language. My dad was serving in the US Marines and did IT stuff, mainly database, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So without even blinking, his response was, yeah, sure. As a child, I was always thrilled by new ideas and information. Learning was something that I found fun and amazing. I was constantly taking things apart and putting them back together again, learning how they worked. I remember there was an incident where I took apart my dad's radio, and to say he was quite pissed is an understatement. And the short version is that he told me I better know how to put it back together. And thankfully, I did. So we're good there. Programming was about to become my new learning obsession. After a few weeks, I understood some basic stuff, enough to start tweaking existing code snippets that were on the forums to make them do what I wanted. And, you start to feel like a god creating your own worlds when you start working on private servers. It was a really, really fun experience for me. Eventually, I got my server to a point that I felt it was solid enough and that I wanted to share it with others, which led me down the long, winding road of learning about routers, NAT, and port forwarding. And for those of you who were playing private servers during that time, here's a shout out for the 1,800 or so people that we had on RuneScape at the time, L33T Scape. That was the server I was running. I only remember a handful of your names at this point because, time just took all that from me. So those memories are gone. But damn if it wasn't some good times in the PvP box. I remember that fondly, and if you were there, then you know. So shout out to all of you. Through my private server Java programming adventures, I learned a few skill sets. I had to dive into HTML, CSS, photo editing software, and eventually even SQL. Fast forward 20 years later, and I'm proficient in over 30 programming languages and own an IT security company. While that was accomplished with a lot of hard work and some luck, I owe a lot of my success to RuneScape. I certainly would not be here without it today. I know that for sure. If anyone from the Jagex team finds this video somehow, be it RuneScape through old school, I just want to say thank you to everyone past and present. Thank you for creating this game that's still going today, and for putting my life on a path that has brought me both personal and professional fulfillment. This journey has been a long road, and I look forward to the future and everything it holds.